Welcome back to the Code One podcast. I'm your host, Jason Zod, and tonight is a special jumping back in with both feet live episode, current events, but mostly we're going to call this one, I think, Cop Stories.
Cop Story.
We have a very, very special guest. He's a dedicated part of the deep state. He is a lifelong career oppressor, a dear friend of mine. Worked with him many, many years. We are calling him Reggie because that is his name. The dark operative himself. Reg, how you doing, buddy?
I'm doing great.
It is a pleasure to have you here. People have been very curious as to who we're having on tonight. Obviously, we can't show Reggie's face, because he is still in the mix, is all I will say. But we are having a lot of fun catching up. Reggie and I talk almost every day still, and we've been annoying each other for close to 30 years now. Is that right? Good God. Yeah, we knew each other before we were cops, which is crazy. But yeah, so
Hi, I'm Nat. I transitioned.
to my right is Nat. She looks a little different. She's had some surgeries.
A lot worse.
Nat did want to be here tonight, but she couldn't be.
Nat is doing business.
Special assignment.
She's doing some business, and
she is murdering people, so we have something to talk
no,
about.
she's doing business, and that's all you need to know.
Business.
Important business at that.
It is important business.
See, now you got to know what it is. If you want to know what it is, follow her on Instagram.
She will not let you.
She won't let you.
She's very mean.
Maybe not her, but there's
small Dunbar. Yo, what's up, dude?
What's up?
Dunbar is a proper and wonderful terror. Well, everybody in the chat's a proper, wonderful terror. We are going to start off here in just a second. Wait, let a couple people catch up, and we'll hopefully be entertaining. But
you want to talk about something in the news?
Yeah. What's the lady? I just had it. Kelly something or another. The lady who's on trial for killing her husband in Boston, who was a Boston PD officer. The found him in the snow trial.
Carla from Cheers?
No, that's Rhea Perlman.
Oh,
the wife of Danny DeVito. He's still very much alive. He is also in the new Beetlejuice movie.
Is he?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
But did Carla from Cheers actually kill somebody?
Well, I mean, maybe.
She's from Boston.
Dunbar just came here to make fun of Nat. I'm sorry, buddy.
She's not here.
She's not here tonight. We hope to get her back shortly. It's not a pun.
What do you think about the pastor in Myrtle Beach?
Yeah, in South Carolina.
What do you think about that case?
Well, Reg, are you familiar with that one?
No, I'm not.
John, you've followed it closer than I have. But why don't you explain what's going on with that case, because it's fascinating.
I'm probably
Aaron Reed. That's the lady's name.
I'm probably behind on this a little bit, but this pastor comes to his church.
Let's say you're a big behind.
This pastor comes to his church service. This was probably a month ago. It was Sunday service, and he walks in and he tells everybody that
he's a fancy lad.
No, that his wife has died and she committed suicide. Like almost bluntly says it that way. And then he asks everybody, or tells everybody how many, all the problems that she had, and then he asks them to leave. Now, she was found in North Carolina, somewhere. I don't remember what. I think it was around Lumberton somewhere. Anyway,
good place to kill somebody.
Right, with a bullet in her head, I think.
Mm-hmm.
So now they're looking into it, and they realize this guy had an affair, and was very abusive to her. But he still hasn't been charged, as far as I know. They're definitely looking at him. I know that.
Yeah, I got a feeling the sands of time are just kind of falling on that one.
Yeah, what do you think, though, with being a high-profile person like that? He probably had an alibi, and it's probably a hit.
Well, the fact that she is murdered and the body is secreted somewhere off the cuff there, out in the North Carolina wilderness, and he has said she is dead and has committed suicide. And to my knowledge, at no point did he say that an angel told him or anything that would, let him use his special God powers.
Well, I don't know where she was. Like, it may have been at home that they had. I can't really remember.
I believe she was found away from the home, if I remember.
No,
correctly.
I mean like a family, another family member's home or something.
Yeah. Well, I'm going to say that could just be what we call a clue.
Well, one of the big things I didn't think was thought was a little suspicious is he said I'm gonna put her out to pasture. And I was like, that's kind of not really great.
A woman is dead, John.
I'm sorry.
A woman is dead. Reggie, admonish him.
I apologize.
It's terrible. So, did you read the story about the dead utility worker in South Central North Carolina, and he was on the property of a U.S. Special Forces operative? Have you seen that story? That's kind of the big news today.
I have not. I've been working with my head in the sand with my stuff.
No. What's up with that?
So it's available online. You can look it up, and of course, it's Fort Liberty now. But the headline reads: "Special Ops soldier being investigated for a fatal shooting." And apparently, the guy was on this other guy's land in the middle of nowhere and not marked up as a utility worker. I mean, now keep in mind, I'm only reading the news story here. Wasn't there? Don't have any special information or knowledge about it, but. Of course, the community's talking about it, and you hear people in the community. But the gist of it is he's apparently not dressed in anything that identifies him as a utility worker. And apparently, the home, is kind of remote, and he's taking photographs. And out the family in the news article says the guy is Chechen. So
yes, yeah,
Ooh.
and from Chicago. So he's not like a local worker as well. So his name is Ramzan Daryov.
Oh, yeah, that coming.
This is the person who was shot. His name. Interesting.
I think a lot of questions about who this guy really was, why he wasn't, dressed properly, why he was taking photographs. Was it to show his work or, but you're at the home of a guy with a pretty tough military job, and it's I think a lot of questions happen, and I doubt a highly trained person like I think that would scare folks. You got this guy just showing up out of the blue taking pictures.
Not only that, the WREL, which is the Raleigh news station, one of the Raleigh news stations here, it says that somebody inside the home reported that he was being aggressive to another person in the residence and was taking photos on again, not identifying himself. So yeah, man, that sounds suspicious.
It's a bad time to be doing that. Not a great time.
It's not a good place to be doing it, remotely with somebody that would worry about somebody doing that. And then being aggressive to them, probably not that good an idea, and you're not properly, identifiable. So I think about it.
The odds too, like think about that too. He just happens to be in the home of this person. This
well, it is formerly Fort Bragg, Fort Liberty, whatever you want to call it now. They're a little bit more populated there than they are in the general population.
I understand, but what I'm saying is like this worker happens to be in this, you know what I mean, from Chicago.
Yeah, I am from Chicago.
Now this is not at Fort Liberty. This is way out in.
He's stationed. No,
okay.
Yeah, it's in a place south of here. One click down.
Sorry.
Yeah, I'll tell you later.
Wow, that's nice. One click down.
No, it's not that.
I've never heard you say that before.
No, it's farther than that. But it's you've been there. I'll just say that.
That narrows it down.
I'll say you dated a girl that lived there.
Oh yeah, never mind. I know exactly where that is.
Yeah.
Holy shit.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. That's good. That's a little distance. Yeah, okay. Well, that changes the game a little bit. Do you think if this guy gets exonerated that they should in court have to play the song from Team America, America, fuck yeah. Is that just me?
In reality, I think it's terrible, but I think it brings up, why is this guy there in the first place? And I think it's going to be a tough case. I think there's a lot of moving parts on this one.
Yeah, I mean, this is definitely going to be a totality of circumstances case. There's clearly nuance to it, but I just want to hear that song again. And you guys,
Yeah, it'd be nice.
you guys crush my dreams.
Did they charge him with anything?
I don't think so. I think
No,
it's just done. That's what the news article said.
No charges. And they said they've all been cooperative with the investigation.
Was there two individuals?
Two at the house?
Did it say in the news?
It says.
Well, I'm talking about two workers.
No, it doesn't say that. It says.
So that may just be.
I would imagine in this case, if there were two workers, there would be two bodies.
Not necessarily.
With an SF guy.
Let's see.
You never know. Those guys are highly trained. They get the rules of engagement. They get handling what they need to handle and nothing more. So you don't know.
They are almost as well trained as the EREC Police Department of North Carolina.
Okay.
You don't mess around with the EREC Police Department. They'll get up on you. Yes.
And
that's a real town.
That town was named after your family. Is that correct?
No. It was named after the Mimo family. Our friend Mimo Eric.
So apparently the police didn't identify this guy. He had nothing on him. They had to go through his truck to find some identification. And so there was nobody else with him, according to the story. So
it's weird. Years ago, Reggie and I ran across a Russian guy.
Was he?
Was
he? In a hurry?
No, he ran a racetrack in Kentucky.
Oh,
and he was a little squirrely. You remember that guy?
That guy.
Yeah. You remember that guy? That was an interesting phone conversation.
Well, when people call you and it's it makes you wonder how with your main suspect and somebody else calling about your suspect, that certainly up the ante, so to speak.
And he has a Russian accent. And he runs a racetrack.
Nice guy, very professional, but
very.
Just the fact that he called on this individual was extremely concerning.
From 2 states away.
Yeah. And I mean, not that I wasn't a bad guy, because he was a very bad guy.
That was one of the funnest cases I ever had.
Let me ask you.
And it's just because you didn't listen to me. It's one of the best things ever.
Let me ask you.
So you still bring that up?
I will forever. You're going to get me on a couple things. I'm going to get you. I'm coming in fast.
We're absolutely right. So do you want to tell the story? Do you want me to tell the story?
You're the guest.
Okay.
People hear me talk all the time. You start telling the story.
So to set the well, let's put the setting out there. We're in a normal police office environment, very nice office. We're just hanging out, working on a case. And keep in mind, most detectives have multiple cases. So they're rarely working one case unless it's something really, really big. And this case was a large dollar amount, but no violence, no, it was all financial, but it was an extremely large dollar amount.
And to be honest, and to be fair, you had already pretty much brought this case home.
Well, we knew who our target was, and we had at least enough to charge on 2 items. So the gentleman was a online scammer, and this was not today's internet. This was years ago, but even the primitive internet, he's selling extremely valuable items, and he would tell you that you would put a deposit down on something extremely valuable, some type of sports memorabilia, or something tradable, but a small item, but extremely valuable, and things
something
that
you can carry away.
Things that wouldn't come on the market very often. So you give him a deposit, and he would tell you that he'd run your credit card and tell you it was declined. So what the most normal people do, they give you another number. They give you another alternate credit card if they have it. And he would promptly max them both out for you. And of course, you would never get the item because he may or may not really have it. And he would take pictures of things and just sell it. But we get a tip on an individual, a community member that was known in the community, family in the community, and young lady he was talking to.
She was a teacher. We can say she was a teacher. It's fine.
And a lower grade teacher. We're not talking high school here, college professor. We're talking, grade school teacher, elementary teacher.
Mm-hmm.
And what is the probability of her doing something crazy? So I figure I will just call her. I've got other cases going. And you said, no, we need to go see her, physically talk to her. And I'm thinking,
dude, I came in, I'd been working almost 2 days straight. I looked like hell. And you were like, I'm just going to call this nice lady. We're going to straighten this out. I'm like, listen to me right now. We got to go see her. I don't care. We got to go see her. This will end badly because this dude's already like throwing out strong fucking vibes of like gaslighting everybody.
Okay. So you can tell how well I believed you.
You immediately called her like while I was standing there, and you made faces at me while you called her.
Maybe you seemed too tired. Maybe that's what it was. So I didn't believe you. And in my great judgment, I called her, and she takes it all completely wrong. And I'm looking panicked at you like, oh, this was a mistake. And she gets off the phone, and we promptly get in the car and drive. I think it's like a 20-minute drive. We get there, and they notified us that she had immediately left the premises and gave no other information other than I've got to leave.
Yep.
Pretty much abandoned the kids.
Like emergency style, like get the go bag. It was amazing.
That starts essentially a 2-week long stakeout of an apartment and a federal agency becoming involved. And
we yelled at her dad a lot. It was fun.
So after 2 weeks of lots of fun and new restaurants that we were getting food from, which I still frequent today.
Yeah.
We get a call. I actually come home, and I'm up. It's spring or summer, but time to mow, and I'm not
getting to my favorite parts.
I'm not dressed as I was, no badge, no gun, no. I'm sure I was.
No, you had no badge. You mow the yard with a gun. Don't lie to the people.
I probably had a gun. So we just never know when Chechens are going to come through your yard threatening you. So the short version is I'm mowing the yard, and my wife comes out. She's holding this will tell the tale, a cordless phone.
Yeah, big man.
Kind of waving it at me, and then I hear this story of how I can get my suspect, and it is a tangled web but it turns out a family member is friends with a former prosecutor, and the prosecutor knew people that I knew and said things that only those people would know. So I believed them, and that had to have only come from one spot. So sure. And their thing is if we give you this guy, the teacher's innocent. She believes this guy is being hunted by rogue cops, by bad cops. And of course,
which we already knew because her idiot father had already told us that.
That's correct.
And he's like, you're bad cops. I'm going to call your boss. Or like, here's his fucking cell phone number. Go ahead.
Call him.
Yeah.
Please.
Oh, we want to hear that. Can we listen? Will you put it on speaker?
So from my recollection, I drive about, now I'm further away from you. So the drive from the office was 20 minutes. My drive from home was probably 40 minutes.
Yeah. You had to come to where electricity is.
That's correct. Right there. We've got it now. But I get there, and we're in the car, and I'm ready to go. And you're looking at me, and you're like, really? And I'm like, what? And you're like, really? And I'm like, dude, what? and you're like, you gonna arrest somebody in a golf shirt and shorts? And then I realized I had grabbed my gun badge, changed clothes. So
you were still wearing your EMF cap. You look like you were unbelievable.
yeah.
It was great.
So
But guess what you did?
what did I do?
You went and you arrested that motherfucker in shorts.
I think the best part is when we made entry and some of the local guys, which very thankful that they showed up to help, but it was pretty much over by the time we got there, got straight out of the car. They let us in the house, and the guy comes around with a little bowl in his hand.
In fairness, the local guys were great at just standing there and not doing anything at all. Literally
they showed
nothing.
up. They had a lot of time to prepare for what.
Yeah.
This operation happened really quick, and the guy comes around and he sees us, and instead of doing anything, he just turns around holding the bowl and tries to leave. But
he's trying to Seinfeld that cereal the fuck out of there.
It was just like, oh, sorry, I'm interrupting you guys kind of look. And of course, he went to jail and was convicted. I think we traveled to at least one more state with some of his hijinks and talked to 3 or 4 other states that were prosecuting him. But yeah, bad guy. And I think we recovered a couple of $2,000 or $3,000 worth of stolen goods. I mean, it was.
Now he cracked out a second, guys. He didn't say $2,000 or $3,000, $200,000 or $300,000.
That's correct.
This dude he actually created a rule that we used after that called the platinum rule. But I'll get to that in a second. This guy had the fucking shirt Tiger Woods won the Masters in the first time. Signed Mickey Mantle jersey in a shadow box.
Did you guys smell it?
No, but that came in later.
Okay.
with the mustard treatment.
Gotta smell it.
He had so much shit. He had tons of little ingots of platinum and gold.
Yeah.
Which later on, our friend was in the evidence room helping us log this stuff in because he was, for whatever reason, in evidence at that time. And all of a sudden, I just a fucking piece of platinum just bounced right off me.
Hell yeah.
And I looked up at him and I was like, did you just fucking throw that at me? He goes, yeah, you can't get mad at me. I threw platinum at you.
True. It's like Kid Rock.
Yeah, I was like,
you're going platinum.
Well, fuck, I guess I can't.
I mean, that you were hit with platinum. I mean, it was.
And as soon as you walked in the room, because it was your case, what did I do? Because I'm such a great friend.
Through platinum.
Threw fucking platinum right at you.
Yeah. That's the way up it. And I don't think I was mad.
No, you can't be mad. So our friends in the Secret Service that we made in this, and I can't say their names because there's a good chance they're still working.
And it's a secret.
And they were a salt and pepper mix. They were a sexy partnership. They showed up because they've been hunting this dude, and we got him, which kind of befuddled them because you look at us and it's like, you'd think they're the ones who are going to explode the house instead of solve the case.
They were extremely sharply dressed.
They were extremely sharply dressed, which came back to bite them.
Late.
Yeah, so we had already served a search warrant, entered the house, recovered all the stuff, locked it down. They had to do their own federal search warrant.
No. That was the story we told them. So let's back up.
Damn it, you're killing me.
All right,
go ahead, dude. It's fun.
We're going to do a joint search warrant operation, and they're a couple of hours late, which has left us in a car for a couple of hours just sitting there.
And you don't leave us being bored because we're going to do something bad.
When they get out, and they're very formal. They've never met us in person. They're very formal. And you started saying, listen, I'm sorry. We went ahead and went in and did the search warrant, and they're immediately pissed off looking. They're upset that, we have not done this operation with them.
These two yokels have fucked our federal operation up.
And then I apologized. I said, I'm really sorry. I said, we got a little bit of a problem. Then you explained to them, but my cousin's a cleaner. And both looked horrified at this point. And I said, look, you guys were running late. We went in and did the search warrant. I was hungry. And he offered hot dogs, talking about you.
Yeah, because I knew a good hot dog place around the corner.
and we got mustered on original World Series Mickey Mantle jersey because my shirt got dirty during the search warrant, so I wore the jersey.
And you'd never worn anything like that before. You were so happy.
And they immediately looked like
George Costanza.
they were both extremely angry, but smart enough to not say anything. They were just turning around and getting in the car. They were just going to leave.
But I was like, guys, it's a little worse than that, just to let you know. I got jealous of him because he had the Mickey Mantle jersey on. So I tried the Tiger Woods shirt on, and I think I fucked it up. It's their seams small? Busted. It's a little small for me. They didn't appreciate that, but they finally got that we were fucking with them, and we became friends after that.
Yeah, it turned out to be a great operation. We went in, actually did the search warrant, all kind of stolen items.
Dude had defrauded and was driving around a fucking Lexus and had a driver.
Hell yeah.
And was trying to defraud some people out of like $1.3 million house.
Pretty cool though.
Yeah. He got a realtor to take him in the house, and he watched him put the code in on the little lockbox at the door. And so that was just his base of operations while I was there, a house that he didn't own. A realtor had there.
That's
good stuff.
Those realtors.
Dude, it was great. The whole thing was awesome.
Let me ask you a question. When you arrest a guy like that, right?
Mm-hmm.
They're handcuffed. They always complain about the handcuffs, right? Did he complain about the handcuffs?
Not the handcuffs. He said he was going to throw up in the car.
Okay, so the handcuffs.
And he was having a heart attack.
How tight do you give him the handcuffs? Because you always hear people complain that they're too tight. But like a guy like that's probably, he runs what, 10 feet and you got him, right?
Well, I mean, not with us two, but most cops, yeah.
Okay, you're right. What do you do? So what's too tight, or how do you judge handcuffs tightness?
You put
go ahead, sir.
Under cuff. Yeah, you put a finger under the cuff.
Right.
That's kind of your gauge that, if your finger is still under the cuff when you snap it on, it's not going to cut off their blood supply. But now that changes, because if you just took them out of water, or they're extremely sweaty, or they're missing something like a thumb, then you've got other problems to deal with, and they're probably going to be a little tighter, or you're going to use a different restraint device, and that could be those flex cuffs. But this guy wasn't really a threat. I mean, of course he's getting handcuffed, but not too tight. I mean, there's no need to make things worse.
I had a one-handed dude one time.
Would you handcuff him to his leg?
No, I handcuffed him to his through his belt loops on his shorts.
You also handcuffed 2 armed robbers to a bumper.
Well, I disarmed them first. That's not fair to say that.
Did you
disarm
that other guy?
Through the cow catcher bumper? Yeah.
Did you disarm the other guy?
No, I did not dishand the one guy. Although we do have one mutual friend who did disarm somebody in a chase.
well, that's the truth. We had to work on his disarming techniques.
Dude, the armed robbery story was funny to me just because like people were freaking out that I'd been killed or something like that. And the whole thing was like I was by myself, and the last fucking thing I was going to do right then was talk into a radio. Which,
did what you had to do.
Yeah.
And cavalry arrived, the armed robbers were chained to a bumper. So
I figured if they could pull my car away, they fucking earned it, man.
It worked. It worked. So it's not bad if it works.
It was a fun day.
Story of the report I've seen in a 30-year career that had the word barrage in it.
Yeah, well, that's what got me out of that. That's what got people to stop talking about that, was me catching 2 armed robbers. Thank God, within like a week and a half.
So
go ahead, buddy.
The one armed robbery you got before.
So part of my job at the time was to read the use of force reports in the mornings, and I'm sure it was a normal day where I come in and the first thing I do is go to the coffee maker and get coffee going, or get coffee if somebody's beat me to it. And then I get the whatever mail's in my mailbox or stuck in my door, little thing on my door. And there's always the packet of terrible happenings and use of force. And normally
I'm in there somewhere, but not for this.
Well, I mean, there's a few hundred officers, and so most use of force is minor. It's it may be pepper spray, it may be later on it was maybe tasers. Once in a while you'd see like somebody used a baton, and firearms were extremely rare. I mean, and that's great. That's exactly what you want to see in any good police agency. That you're not, number one, if you're having these firearms, your guys and girls are going through something. That's a tough time if you're seeing that on the regular. So
thank you for that. I still think about this. I appreciate your care for me.
But anyways, I get to the one and I see your name on it, so I'm instantly gonna read this one and reread it. So then I realize this is just a true horror story. And so from my reflection, you show up at a scene, and it was a dog call, and the neighbors had already injured a large German Shepherd, from my recollection.
The fellow had been watching the NASCAR race, if you can believe it, and had been about 14 to 15 beers in. He was holding a pitchfork with blood all over the end of it. Oh, yeah. And his back and forearm were bloody, like scratched up on the back, but a little bloody on the forearm.
Was it my dad?
And he said, well, kind of. And he's like, oh, I can't find him. I'm like, who? He's like, sick and nervous. And I'm like, you're sick and nervous? Do you need an ambulance? He's like, no, fuck you. I'm okay. My dog is sick and nervous. I'm like, was your dog okay? He's like, no, that's his name. Come to find out, the German Shepherd had chased the dog under the trailer.
Yeah, you have no idea why this dog has attacked him. And then you suddenly become aware the dog it attacks you. And all that.
Yeah, running towards us like fucking Cujo while I'm taking the report.
That's when at your report that you said you fired a barrage of rounds to stop the dog. Now,
I think the evidence bears me out on that. That was a barrage, the first round. I was even able to tell you where all the casings landed.
So you would have been carrying a Glock at the time. Probably, I think you were actually
Glock 21, 45 caliber. Still my favorite gun.
How many bullets go in the magazine and one in the barrel, in the tube? So
12 and 1.
So I know how many this holds, but the fact that you chose the terminology of not 1 round, 2 rounds, 5 rounds, you just chose a barrage, I think is what stood out. And I've never forgot that.
In my book, a barrage is anything over 5 rounds. And I fired a barrage at that dog.
To be fair, that dog was on PCP.
The dog was possibly on PCP.
Well, I just remember that there was a whole question with the dog rabid, which is a whole other set of problems.
You said rapping or rabid?
Oh. Both.
Yeah. Not rapping. Rapping would do.
No, I've heard of them, the Snoop Dogs and such.
That would have worked. That's funnier.
Do you feel that you feel good about that?
I do not. However, I did shoot 4 things with 1 bullet in that particular exchange. That was something else.
What'd you shoot? You shot the dog?
I shot the dog.
Yeah.
Now, keep in mind, this is rural North Carolina.
There's one. The dog.
Bullet, 45 caliber, Ranger Talon, Winchester Talon. Now it's a hollow point bullet.
Okay, you shot it.
Bullet goes through dog.
Got that.
Bullet hits a cinder block.
Cinder block 2
under a tree.
Okay.
Like a Leland cypress.
Doesn't matter.
In the neighbor's yard. Now keep in mind, I'm angling my shots down at this dog. I'm trying to fire conscientiously, given what's behind the dog, which I'm just firing down into dirt.
Okay, got 2 things.
After it hits the center block, it ricochets off the center block and goes end over end. There is a blue shitty Walmart pool behind this place.
Okay,
next door. A tiny piece of the copper jacket hits the pump on the shitty Walmart pool.
And then
that's number 3. And
finally lands in the front of Kennedy's head.
Yes, that's how we shot JFK. We shot a dog first. And the main part of the projectile goes end over end, which is indicative usually of a hard strike ricochet. And it did have cinder block residue in it, which kept it from mushrooming through the side of a mobile home which already had bullet holes in it, strangely enough, and landed under a sink.
Would it have been better in the report to write instead of barrage?
Fuckload.
I wrote.
I should have said
shot,
fuckload.
I shot at least canine.
Reggie, do you see what I have to deal with?
Yeah, and I just want you to clarify that number one, I'm an animal lover. Don't want to see anybody's dog shot. Love dogs, but this was not a nice dog.
No.
It's a German Shepherd on the attack for an unknown reason, which attacked its own owner. We've got a lot of concerns, but no doubt it was bad. It was just, the use of the term barrage that still stands out to this day.
That is true. And I felt worse about that than like any of the actual gunfire exchanges I got into.
And I think you could trace its bloodlines back to Joseph Goebbels.
Fucking
so
Reggie,
he's
this is
that
what I have
kind
to deal
of a
with,
German Shepherd. All right.
He was a Nazi Shepherd. Okay.
Yeah.
The dog had
he hid out in Argentina for a while.
Had a copper coated choke chain on it.
Yeah, that's how they like it.
It was a beautiful dog.
Beautiful
dog. But it wasn't treated well, and it was rabid. I did not enjoy killing a dog. People don't care, but dogs, come on, man.
Let me ask you this, since you're on the topic, not about dogs, but when
we got some user questions that we got to get to.
Okay, this is real quick.
Well, yeah.
Real quick. This is non-lethal force, but how did you decide if you have pepper spray, you have a taser, or you have an aspeton, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, how do you decide which one you're going to use in a situation? Is there like
Reggie? This is all yours.
Training for that kind of thing, like specifically, or is it your discretion?
Reggie's been an instructor for use of force as long as I've known him.
Yeah, I'm just
so. Here's the way it works. Number one, sometimes when you have the car, you're just directly involved in whatever bad is happening. It depends on how bad it is to what weapon you have to use. I mean, believe it or not, it could be your car. There's a video online where you've got a female subject running down the street near a school, shooting at cars and shooting at the police car, and the officer correctly uses his car to stop her before she gets to the school. Now, we're not issued a car as a weapon, but
we're not.
That's what he used. Oh, you never seen that?
No. I plead the fifth.
I haven't seen that video. I'm going to check that out later. We'll put it up on
for sure.
So you've got what you've got, but a lot of times, so you've got your bat belt on, so to speak. All your gear out, and there's two subjects in mutual combat. They're fighting. They're drunk. They're whatever, but they're not listening to you to stop. So you can't shoot them. You can't. A baton's just you're going to be hitting one, but pepper spray is the gift that keeps on giving to everybody in the immediate area. So
Jesus Christ, I wish they could uninvent that.
So you can always tell because it has a sickly orangey smell, and when you smell oranges, you get that citrus smell. You're suddenly going to start coughing. Your eyes are going to burn, and instantly if somebody's been pepper sprayed. But so that's a beautiful tool for multiple people. And they even make foggers. So if it's a big group and it's a problem, then you use pepper, and it's non-lethal. I mean, water's the cure. We got plenty of water, so keep in mind anytime you use any type of force, it's a lot of paperwork. So as a cop, if you can talk your way out of it, that just makes your life so much better. And
if you can skip that paperwork,
you can skip that.
Don't do that.
I can skip getting hurt too. So you get out. There's one person, and I mean, I've seen some hilarious things. I've seen cops pick up chairs, and they look like a lion tamer when they're dealing with a child that's swinging a screwdriver. That doesn't want to do whatever.
Yeah.
So,
Ivanhoe,
you get back in the corner. Yeah.
Well, and you laugh when you see it, and so that brings up yet another story where a mutual friend is being trained at the time, and his training officer, very agile fellow, and the gentleman throws a shoe at the training officer who
he threw it at the trainee. Oh, I'm sorry. No, you're right. He did throw it at the training officer. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to interrupt you.
And the trainee does he not take it straight to the face?
Well, here's what happened. The training officer was an Italian and therefore immune to shoe throws. He had like a +1 throw defense against the fucking
So
shoe he thrown at him.
that-
So he pulls one of these.
He's like Daredevil.
Like
Practices in
it's like the fucking Matrix for Guido's. And yeah, so the poor trainee, also known as Boy Cop.
Oh.
Yeah, I just want to get you in on it. He does catch the shoe in about the head neck area, but he's a stout kid. He's a wrestler. The Boy Cop is very, very good. And it in reality doesn't affect him. However, the story, as you know, and I know, is second to reality when it comes to fucking with your friends later on.
Oh, sure. And you've got dogs in your box and
yeah, I got fucking stuffed animal dogs enough to like make a special needs class smile. I could give one to everybody. It would have been.
When you mentioned picking up a chair, I thought you were going WWE style. Like
no, this was Lion Tamer style.
Yeah, just trying to
turn on each other.
No, he's dead serious. It actually happened like a couple times.
Yeah, I just thought it was going to be a flat chair.
One was at a school and one was on a patrol call that I went on. Were you at the school?
No, it was a mutual friend that matter of fact, I saw him tonight and we didn't talk about that, but he called and said, you never guess what just happened. And he's describing, he goes in, it's a little kid and, he doesn't seem too threatening and he starts explaining, we got the police called out and what it is it's, like a single mom and the kid's destroying the house. And now I do think the kid had some other issues and some type of designation, but to a full-grown cop, he doesn't look that threat. Then up comes the screwdriver ninja style. And I think he's actually staggered like, is this really happening? So there's a chair between him and he just picks it up and the kid's, swinging for the fences with a screwdriver and you don't want to get stuck by a screwdriver.
No, so, I've been stabbed by a screwdriver. It's terrible.
Tamer corrals the kid back into a corner until, from my recollection, he pinned him with the chair and got the screwdriver. And I don't think he even handcuffed the kid. I think he just finally just held on to him long enough.
Yeah, the kid just tired out and started crying.
Oh, poor kid.
It was, that part's not that funny, but the Lion Tamer part's hilarious.
That's kind of scary. Like I didn't think it was going to go. Like that one's got quite a bit of bite with him. So.
Yeah, I've never been like I've never had a kid try to stab me with an actual screwdriver. Adults plenty of times, but kids never. You told me something I had completely forgotten earlier when we were prepping for this.
And what was that?
The dude that you were serving the governor's warrant on, I'd completely forgotten about that. And
okay.
I was having trouble remembering like the details until way after our conversation, and I kind of remember it now. But
so I'm not
jog my memory.
I'm not a giant. I was at the time. I was probably. I think I was about 185, maybe 190 pounder. I wasn't a small guy, but
you wasn't wearing no dress. Let's just put it that way.
I'm gonna be in the NBA. Either.
I was.
Now, just to be fair and upfront, Reggie was known for having black gloves.
Yeah.
And the black gloves were, when
like the APA
when he was done talking, the black gloves went on, and his many years in martial arts and multiple other disciplines and what have you, they came into play, and there was nothing talking anymore.
That was really for my protection, just for people, bleeding and cut and grabbing people. But the short version is I'm just going down to see this guy and serve a paper. And this paper was basically notification that they were going to extradite the guy to a northern state and to New York State, from my recollection. And it was
New York's not a cuss word. I keep telling you that.
For first degree murder, and which is no laughing matter anywhere. So it's a serious piece of paper. I've got to go down and serve notification, and it's really just a formality. I'm going to hand you a piece of paper and let you know that you're getting ready to ship out. So this guy was, I think he had been picked up on, something involving credit cards. So nonviolent crime, we go down. I'm talking to him, and he looks at you because you're much bigger, stouter fella. He's like, "Would you bring your muscle with you?" This guy is apparently a renowned. He's a boxer. I mean, he is a legitimate boxer, and he's kind of laughing. And I get it. He thinks it's funny or whatever.
I thought it was funny.
We call him out by himself, and he's still being a jerk. And he was a tough guy until I said, "Hey, just letting you know, I've got to give you this. There's a governor's warrant for you, and you're being extradited back to New York, and it says for first degree murder. So be leaving in the next few days. So just letting you know, here's your copy." And it took the wind completely out of his sails. He wasn't such an amusing fella after that.
I thought he was charming.
He was charming. Yeah, he was a nice guy, but that deflated him quite a bit. And it's apparently, from what they told us, it was kind of a slam dunk. Like, this is our guy. Like,
that was done. I think they even had part of it on video, like him running out of the scene.
Well, and that would explain, why he came here and didn't have a lot of. So he's a crook, and he's.
Well, I thought for a second I was going to get my moment, but it didn't happen. I'm sad.
Nope. That was just a big, it couldn't happen to a nicer fella. So
it really couldn't. Now, a couple of questions from our audience, if you're okay with that.
Yep.
I think you'll like both of these.
I got them. No.
That I've selected.
I'll handle them.
Fire away. Yes. Great terminology. Fire away.
Fire away.
The first one is from our dear friend. He is all the way across the Atlantic in Europe.
Oh.
Roteradamus, the man himself, the European sensation.
Mm-hmm.
And he wants to ask, what was the worst smell you ever encountered that you can remember on duty?
I'll take this.
You got it?
Thank you, John. Been waiting all night for this.
Well, yeah.
Reg, are you still there?
Yep, I'm here.
Yeah. John was just going to talk about the time he farted out the top of his crack.
No.
Okay.
Up through his lower back.
It was the bathroom in DC.
Outside of DC, yeah.
Yeah, it's the worst smell. Anyway, sorry. Go ahead, guys.
Okay, worst work.
Yeah, worst work smell, yeah.
It would have been a suicide in a chicken house. So we're talking a poultry farm in August in the South, which you're looking at temperatures, easily in the 90s every day
with humidity.
And he had been hanging in this commercial poultry farm for at least a couple of days in summer heat, and these poultry houses are hot all by themselves just from the amount of livestock.
Is this zone 3?
I believe it was.
Okay.
And
they smell anyway, the poultry houses. They have their, I mean, if you're not used to it. So I can't imagine that added to it.
And so needless to say, decomposition, heat, and the poultry itself, and just that was an unforgettable smell. And then I was at an autopsy where there was burned bodies, and the was bad enough. And then we went to lunch, and one of the guys ordered rare roast beef, and I just couldn't handle it anymore. That was it for me.
What kind of sick son of a bitch would do that? Did they attend the autopsy?
Yeah.
Is this somebody I know?
Yeah, and it would fit perfectly into what you would think. So
I'm guessing. If I had 3 guesses, I'm pretty sure I could nail this one.
Yep, I'm sure you could.
You know what?
Yeah,
I wasn't covering.
I'm pretty sure you could nail this one.
Right.
Yeah.
But no, I've smelled that as well. I was I got a call, but went to the scene of body that had been burned, and it was still on the scene, and you could smell it. And it's the dude, that is unlike anything I've ever smelled before. It was awful. It was
Yeah, those are bad. I don't like the burn body thing for whatever reason. It didn't bother me quite that much. I guess everybody has their own sensibilities. My thing was always
Well,
putrefaction and heat, especially if they were left for a while to the point where they lost their constitution. So
And that,
go ahead.
that's pretty normal.
No, not that point. I'm talking about their structural constitution.
Oh,
Yeah. Now the funny one is, and it's not funny, but it's funny because of the terminology. One of our old favorite sergeants called me when I was just a regular detective. I was for a while. I had the nickname Angel of Death when I was on call because,
like,
like,
killed puppies.
yeah, well, dead bodies are going to happen. So he calls me, and the initials are VW. If that helps you, Reggie.
yeah.
Volkswagen.
Yeah, the old Volkswagen calls me, and he says, "We got an Elvis." I'm like, "What?" He's like, "We got an Elvis." I'm like, "Oh fuck." He's like, "It's a camper with no power, and it has water. That's it." I said, "How long?" He goes, "I would guess maybe a day and a half." These were the hottest days on record at the time, and the dog days of summer. This is like August 3rd. So I go and I find this fellow. When you have an Elvis, it's someone who dies on the toilet usually and then pitches forward. So everything in the body has a viscosity and an ejection point because of the gases or whatever's happening. This person was very sick and old and had been. However,
AKA burn in love.
yeah, a honka burning love. So it was mostly to the point of the body processes and the expelling of those processes. In that case, that was one of the worst, just because it wasn't a whole lot different than some other scenes I worked. Another one was one that had been found about a week and a half in a home. It was not an elderly person, but a person with mental disability who had died alone, didn't know how to like work their air conditioning, didn't have the proper care, which was very sad and tragic. And when I go in there and they're like getting ready to cart them off, the bloat and putrefaction, the natural way the body breaks down. We lost Nat on this. Nat's like, I'm getting the fuck out of here. Love you, Nat. The way the body breaks down, this person started just falling apart, and not in any kind of way that you could put Humpty Dumpty back together again. And the gases that escaped, the bloat, the absolute horrid, horrid, horrid smell just forced everyone out. I think it was like literally toxic.
Well, and you know, I think you need to bring it up for the people that listen that, you know, number one, cops deal with tragedy and things. I mean, it's unfortunate, but humor is what gets you through as a cop. If you can't come up with some way to deal with the stress and the struggle that you're dealing with, you know, you're dealing with a death in that case, and you know you have to find a way to survive it mentally, and that's humor. But then you have to immediately be ready to switch gears and deal professionally and you know with families and you know loved ones, and you've got to be that guy too. So
like that sometimes.
It's an extremely tough job on anybody that does it, and I'm quite sure that you know it damages 99% of the officers that do the job. But you know when you hear us joke and pick about things like that, it's simply how we survived it, and it's hard to teach to new cops. It's they'll get it, they'll learn it, but it's hard to prepare them for that.
It is a coping mechanism, and also occasionally, not gonna lie, some of that shit's really funny.
Well, and
I mean, some of it's really funny.
so I remember an officer calling out for a completely nude male individual running a roadway, a 5-lane highway, two
Guys,
lanes.
he's a
know.
gold star cop to me, as far as I'm concerned, because he helped me one time when I was getting shot at.
Sure.
And he was my training officer twice in 2 different divisions. Nothing but mad respect for the guy, but the amount of comedy this dude generated.
Twice is worrisome. So.
Oh my God. He was a fucking literal bullet magnet. That's, you gave him that term, Reggie. You literally gave him that term.
Yeah. So
can you tell him the naked man story now?
Killed, so make sure you got your gear on. But was he not attacked by said nude man running down the road?
That nude man running down the road in front of a fucking prison, who was high on what we guess was PCP.
He's just giving a show.
Yeah,
just taunting.
Well, he jumped.
See you, boys.
Now the reason I'm taking over the part of this narrative is because I do the best version of this dude's imitation.
What?
Or his best imitation of this dude's voice. Sorry.
Best imitation.
Yeah. Anyway, so dude is our buddy. Big ups. Is he never gets excited about anything. So if you ever hear him get excited, it's the worst shit ever. He had a heart attack one time in jail as a jail officer and finished his shift. Am I wrong?
It's I forgot about that too.
Yeah. So he was like, I'll be done in about 2 hours. Dude jumps on his car, starts jumping on the hood, smashing the windshield, and reaches around through his somewhat open window and starts literally choking the life out of him on PCP. So he hollers his call number into the mic and goes, help. It was at shift change at 6 o'clock in the morning, so everybody came. Like, the highway patrol office was 45 yards from where he was. The sheriff's office was 120 yards from where he was. Everybody came and saw him getting choked by the naked man who was on PCP. So it's not like anybody else would have got out of that one. That's what happened, though. It was pretty fucking awesome.
But you never lived that one down either.
No, this is the guy who got shot at so many times. And who knows how many people's lives he saved with the wisdom he gave us?
No, it's certainly he's retired now. Is that correct?
Oh yeah, he's retired, and he still is kind of looking for the shots to come in. Yeah. Last time I saw him, he's looking around like, oh shit.
But wouldn't that kind of be the way to go out, sit in your recliner and just to stray around, get you? I mean, that's the way you went out like a champ.
If he doesn't go out like that, I'll be fucking amazed.
For it every day.
That's the way he should go.
I hope he's like scratching a lotto ticket and he wins, like
Okay,
really big, or wins like $150 million, and then it's like
got the winning number, and he's and the round hits him. Is that
right between the fucking eyes, dude?
Like a second to enjoy it.
He like maybe even like 45 seconds. Like he gets to realize it, and then kabow, right between the old spud.
I think that's better though, because you go out happy. Like
that's what I hope for him, because he's not going to be happy with money. That guy's never going to be happy.
Well, he's probably thinking of something that only he would enjoy.
Yeah, like I'm going to buy that nice 20-foot fishing boat.
Yeah, it's possible,
dude. The next code one we have, code one question we have is from Johnny Deenan. He is from the Retired and Registered Nurse podcast. He is the man. He has one of the funniest fucking stories I've ever heard about the beach and bathing suits.
Okay.
And folks, if you're listening, I highly recommend you, at the very least, go find that episode. You're going to love the podcast. It's a fun podcast. They just started up. He is a retired fellow from the military and whatnot, and his wife is still a registered nurse to this day. But he is a great guy.
No.
So he asked, and don't take this as ignorance, Reggie, but he asked, have you ever interrogated a suspect, and how long was your longest interrogation? follow-up question, did you secure the confession? Reggie, have we ever interrogated anybody that you can recall?
I mean, we had, I remember certain task force work at least 130 in a 2-year span. And that was just a
Just
special,
that. Just that.
that wasn't just the normal day-to-day stuff. So, I mean, hundreds through the years, and confession, I'd say 20 to 25% of the time on good cases. I mean, obviously there's cases that you just talk to people and you get very little information, or you're just talking to them and there's nothing to confess. Maybe you caught them red-handed. Your main question is, why'd you do that? It's not even a real interrogation, but nevertheless, you've asked them a question and they're in custody and you've read them their rights. But real confessions, I mean, yeah, tons. And it's a lot of times that's a much deeper story. And I've told that story recently about, you really get to see the monsters that are out there when you can really see and hear what they are when they tell it in their own, well, you've got me, and they're just being what they really are. They're not trying. Those are the scary ones. And
I think you, without saying it, but you guys dealt with people that really try to camouflage themselves in normal society in that one particular.
Well, I haven't hidden my affiliation with ICAT cases and how important those cases are.
Yeah, right. So
yeah,
those people in those cases are super scary, because there's no cool street cred with that. You know what I mean? And they're not well liked amongst any.
It's a different animal,
right? And
other prisoners find out what they are,
right, and so yeah, to take that mask off of them.
It doesn't always work like that in the interrogations, though. That's the weird thing, is because Reggie's one of the best interrogators in those cases I've ever worked with, across the board, period. I'm not gonna say too much, but I will say this: he's gotten some of the most startling confessions, and made deals where he's learned so much about that underworld that really not just enlightened law enforcement, but it kind of changed the game locally and throughout parts of the region and the district we're in.
But we were really blessed because we were in that so early. Not that there always hadn't been a problem, but really when they were finding ways to specifically attack that problem, we were kind of standing amongst giants that started that and laid the ground. What is unfortunately normal business now, but we had some wild cases, and we had confessions where when you're dealing with that specific type of crime, number one, it's about impossible to keep personal feelings out of it, and drug dealers steal drugs. They may not have the best education, they may not
you don't hate them for it.
That's all they know how to do.
It's the game.
That's how they feed their family, so to speak. But they know what they're doing's wrong. They're aware of it, and they know that there's a price to be paid if you get caught. So you at least understand that. But with these folks, you don't always see it, and the victims are so helpless, and you don't get a lot of sympathy. But some will confess and then say, look, I need help. I know it's a problem. I want to make it right. I don't need to be, anywhere around this. And then then you're kind of stuck because, all right, well, you're going to pay for what you did. You've got to answer for your crime, but at the same time, maybe this is a learning moment. Maybe this is something they can give us information or help us understand, certain aspects of it, and make the world a better place. So that's a weird one when you deal with those.
Well, then those it also goes across social class, race. There's that camouflage is up there a lot harder. Like in poverty-stricken areas, there are going to be people that are selling drugs. I mean, that's just
Yeah,
just the way or whatever. But
we
and you
arrested
understand the why of that. This is
we arrested paupers to preachers. I mean,
right.
you're right. It did not know class. I remember one of the most unsettling ones was a confession you got from a dude who was not long out of his teenage years.
No, and I remember that when I remember testifying and actually hearing my voice in court, and the guy's with me, and he starts telling the story of what age he likes. And I remember it was a really young age. It was below like age 10, and I'm like, I don't get it, pal. I like ladies with curves. And he is explaining how that grown women probably aren't pure, and that you know not attracted to that. And I mean, he's being what I feel is completely honest. You're seeing exactly what this guy's targeting. And then I asked him specifically how many people of that age range live, close to you. And he comes up with a very specific number almost instantly, which tells me he's targeting. And, those are scary moments to know that, people in that community that had kids that, you've got a wolf walking amongst them. And that was a spooky one, because I think the mask just came off of what he really was. And there was absolute intent in what he was doing. He was targeting, he was specific, and he was, I mean, that's what he was attracted to, and he made no bones about it. And those are spooky
ones. One of the worst / best pieces of that entire audio was where you're asking him all these things, and you've got your phrasing down, and you're total pro. And when he says, because they aren't clean, it shook me, really shook me. It was really fucked up, but it was one of those things where you felt the foundations kind of shift a little bit. It's like, okay, I know a little bit more now than I did yesterday or even a few moments ago about what we're hunting. And what we're hunting is far worse than I thought it was. And you did such good work on that case all the way around, even though somebody, I'm not going to go into it, was not very professional on that case and tried to fuck some people over. You did excellent work. That case came out fucking perfect. You're a total pro. And that's one of the things, it's disturbing. It was reassuring. It was good. I'll always remember it. And it still to this day flavors the way I do those types of investigations.
Yeah, and I'll never forget the guy who went to go to a jury trial, which I'm thinking they're not going to take what you said well, and they did not. They consumed that exactly like you would think any normal person would, which was they took that horribly.
Yeah, that was the backwards slam dunk kind of moment there.
What other questions have you got tonight?
Well, I do want to keep with this one just for just a moment, because I think you after going through that and talking about that, you deserve to talk about another interrogation we did, where you get to really have a little fun with old Zod.
So, which one was?
And I promise I'll end it after this. But the interrogation where the lady was worried about her husband who came in.
Oh, I know exactly where we're headed with this.
So, yeah, because he had been practicing something to the occult arts and some other things that may or may not have straightened up, like actual crime, law, fraud, what have you. And
you were a vice officer at the time, and from my recollection, wearing a t-shirt. And
look, okay, let me also say this: at the time, I was the only person in the sheriff's office, the agencies, and all those other places we worked, where if the occult came up, I got called all the time by different cities, municipalities. You weren't the only person who did this. However, you being one of my best friends and most favorite people on the planet took this as an opportunity to have fun with me because you thought, oh, this is going to go nowhere.
Do another show sometime, just cops ghost stories, because that was one of my favorite.
100%. We got thousands of those.
And I love to hear cops ghost stories because cops are trained observers, and it's hard to trick a cop because they see so much. And so cop ghost stories are one of my top favorite topics for entertainment. But what the case you're describing is still haunts me to this day.
Yeah, okay. This is me basically at my own self-destruction. So have fun, enjoy, because you've been fantastic, and I appreciate you coming on and doing this.
So this is my recollection of the story, and that day you were dressed as you normally were, and plain clothes, t-shirt. I mean, you're a vice officer.
Not much different than what the people are seeing right now.
So at
you had the My Little Pony shirt on.
Yeah.
At the time, I had to be in shirt, tie, jacket, but around the office, you're in dress pants, dress shirt, tie. You had to look a certain way and clean cut, obviously. And it's a case I'm working, and the guy that we were this lady knew him. It was a former spouse from what I remember, but they weren't, spouses anymore.
At least as strange as I recall. At least.
He had been a beauty queen.
And you had actually worked a case on this dude before where you had to warn him off of some shit where it was on the line of illegal. It's like, dude, you're putting your toes across the fucking sand here.
Yeah, he didn't get it. So ways we ended up taking care of getting him some proper charges. But the short version is come in to talk to this lady and get some very specific information. And she's very articulate, very smart, but I'm not very artistic. I mean, I can draw a straight line with a ruler, but other than that, not so much. Now my wife's the exact opposite. She's very artistic, and she sees and puts things together that I don't.
Oh, she's so much better than you. So much better than you.
Yeah, I'm undeserving, but this lady was artistic and was into music and art, and
she's cultured, very cultured lady.
Cultured lady, but she does not like me for whatever reason. I don't know if she didn't like the tie I was wearing or
I couldn't
whatever.
begin to name the reason she wouldn't like you.
I mean, one of millions of reasons, I'm sure, but she's not into me whatsoever to communicate with. And you were there. So she says something, and you answered, you knew, and it was like Greek mythology.
Now, no, it was Sumerian. It was Moloch.
And you hear terrible disturbance in my house. I have two cats chasing each other through the room. So I'm not running laps with my computer here, but the short version is it's like Greek mythology, and you answer it apparently exactly the same way, and then it's like I'm not in the room. And I will give you the fact that you managed to get the simple questions that I needed answered. She was all into you, and I am staggered to this day that she was single, you were single. It was my case. It wasn't like a conflict of interest for you. And when she walked out, a commanding officer.
No. You walked out of the room at one point. You were like, you know what? I'm just going to give you your room. Because I want people to understand how much I'm in my own way so many different times in life.
I just want you to be really clear. I was horrified by the events as they were taking place.
Yes.
So number one, first of all, you're being this lady's being extremely flirtatious with you. Number two, I'm not getting my questions answered, which is the only reason I'm there.
I answered your damn questions for you, sir.
But I mean, how long does it take? Anyways, I digress. But
No,
the short
dude, give me the business. It's fine. That's what we're here for.
completely, you completely and utterly did not see that or didn't capitalize or whatever. And I'm thinking, you know, a hungry guy's got to eat here and there. And you were single, she was single, she was all about you,
Clearly, I was hungry.
and just nothing. Just like if I had some platinum, I would have thrown it at you.
I know you would.
So, horrified to this day. So and the bad thing is it's not even like it was in question. This was like a former like beauty contestant. Like this stuff doesn't fall out of the sky and hit you like platinum every day. You know.
Can you do me one favor about this? Can you tell us what our former commanding officer, and I mean high ranking in the organization, who was to this day one of the best detectives in a room I've ever seen?
So
what did he say when he saw us outside after she left?
I don't remember the exact words, but when I walked out, I was looking disgusted, and you were walking around, and she's obviously still wanting to talk to you, and I'm just aggravated because I just want to finish my case, and you know, you're not getting this at all. And I said something that triggered him, and he said, "I don't know what y'all are talking about, but if it's about that hot lady walking out right there,"
He didn't say lady.
I know. This is the PG version, but the short version is, yeah, you completely failed to capitalize on your opportunities, and horrified to this day about it.
Yep. So if anyone's still in the comments and you want to call me gay for missing the former beauty queen, apparently throwing the old batting eyes there and whatnot.
How often does that happen? You know, and it wasn't just a, you know, like flirtatious to try to get out of trouble or anything. It wasn't that. They were just there to answer a simple question.
She was. And yeah, she I think she actually did invite me to come to her house and look at the drawing she had or something like that. And
buddy, it was
I missed all of it. I missed it all so fast and so bad.
I think that's why I left. I think that it was so overt. I just felt like, you know, the creepy third guy in the room. Like, you know, I wasn't into this. Is I'm leaving. So
video
he seriously, he looked at me as such like disgust and also like a thumbs up kind of thing at the same time. Like, well, apparently my services are no longer needed here. he got up like the cable guy and walked out with a stack of papers.
Wow.
And again, there was pride and disgust in his look then. And then when I came out, he's like, "So what happened?" I'm like, "I think she's gonna be okay."
Was she?
And he's like, "What the fuck do you mean she's gonna be okay?"
And she was visually impaired.
Apparently, she didn't bring her glasses that day.
I didn't think.
Yeah.
Nothing wrong with this person other than didn't like me as a human being. So.
Oh. And turned it
on. And the bad thing is she was what, maybe 10 years, 15 years older than me, and I wasn't very old at the time.
I you know, somehow, some way you've got something broke. And
you're not wrong.
My wife just used the terminology MILF there, which I'm you know, it's
your wife is the smartest of all three of us.
Yes. But the short version is yeah, you just dropped the ball on that one for the whole team, pal.
Yeah, all of you were mad at me for like 3 weeks.
It was just so sad. It
was terrible. Yeah, you know, that was pretty good.
And we'll I think it was artwork or something she was going to show you, and come by.
Art. I love art. Yeah,
I'd love for you to come by and see this.
And the bad thing is, she was actually a very beautiful person. She was a beautiful, like statuesque, timeless beauty.
Good.
I mean, other than not liking me as a human, you know, everything else was okay, and you just didn't get it or didn't. I don't know what you did, but
that's a good move, though. That's a good play. The excuse me, man, is this man bothering you? You essentially did that in an interrogation.
That had been his move. If he had come in and like hey, you're striking out with your questions, pal. But look,
Yeah.
this is I'd like to talk to her because I'm a single guy. If he had cut in on that, I would have actually been okay. Like, I would have probably been a little pissed. Like, I hope Dumb gets the questions answered at least, and been pissed off and went and got coffee. Nope, wasn't that at all.
It was the opposite of that.
It bothers me today. I don't even like to think about it. It still stirs me up.
Sarah Beth says, interrogation room speed dating event.
That's what it. Yeah.
Yeah, it kind of was. And I failed that test so bad.
I'd have one question. What would your question be if you had to speed date?
I had none. Like, I fucked up.
I'm saying if you did, like you're in an interrogation room speed.
Mine
would be what that thing do.
Oh, that's a good one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And let it sit there.
I think Reggie would be like, do you like jet skis?
You like how you feel about jet skis? So that's bad. But so the short version is that you screwed that one up for eternity. So what other questions you got?
Well, we had more. We're gonna shut it down for the night. The funny part is that the defeat I suffered in that one still bothers you, which is hilarious to me.
It will bother me to the end. I think somehow if I got shot like the guy that just won the lottery, the bullet magnet, I think that somehow I would get reminded of that right as the darkness was closing in and the happiness of winning the lottery was there. Somehow that would enter my mind. That'd be the last thought I'd go out on. That up,
dude. This has been fun as fuck. Thank you so much for coming on. Can we do this again? Are you okay with doing it again?
Yeah, this was fun. This was enjoyable, but you just scratched the surface, unfortunately.
Oh, it's not even close. I mean, not even anywhere near close. We haven't talked about Big Juicy. We haven't talked about any like old Mustache Bob. We haven't talked about any of the crazy shit.
The house of prostitution when the guy tried to sneak out. Were you there when we thought one of them was dead?
Yes.
That was my other podcast. It's a prostitution. You can catch that.
The fucking crazy shit we've seen and done, and it's amazing.
Just if it was John that was the body there, even though he wasn't dead, he was just extremely high.
He's extremely relaxed.
Just here, guys. Just work around me.
John has never done drugs during this podcast.
No, I don't drink. I don't do drugs.
Covered him up, left the money there, and just left.
Yeah.
It's like look, it's legitimate business transaction for John. I think we're just gonna leave this one. So
I don't know if I'm dead yet, guys. I don't know what's going on. I might be. Just leave it here. We'll be fine. This is a good time.
Gosh, what do we do here? Because he looked like he went so happy.
Yeah, true. I mean, we've got stories about detectives not long dead, but dead maybe 5 years. Like the granddaddy of our detectives here.
I'm still a terrible, terrible germaphobe, and some of those horrible, nasty scenes still bother me.
But I'm talking about TJ, the guy who I technically replaced as a detective.
Yes.
The weird transition of that.
That was like an old time cop movie. Some of the stuff that happened, I still remember some of those moments today.
I know you do.
So, things that would absolutely not fly in today's modern law enforcement world were normal then, and keep in mind, highly effective. But yeah
they were
stuff
something
that I have since.
Brother, I love you so much.
Well,
we're gonna stop the recording and
second. Everybody else,
the live broadcast and all that stuff. Thank you all for being here tonight. Thank you for hanging with us. You guys are awesome. Thank you for your questions. Thank you for interactions. And don't be afraid. Be aware.